That's under consideration right now, but if you're not vaccinated, you're not nearly as smart as I thought you were.
Are you concerned that the CDC's new max guidance could sow confusion?
We have a pandemic because of the unvaccinated, and there's sowing enormous confusion. And the more we learn about this virus and the Delta variation, the more we have to be worried and concerned. And then only one thing we know for sure: if those other 100 million people got vaccinated, we'd be in a very different world. So get vaccinated. If you haven't, you're not nearly as smart as I said you are.
So the Biden administration has fallen back on insults. They're going to insult over half the United States population. That's their newest plan. That's what they've come up with. The only failure within this entire scenario has been the administration and the CDC itself. They're the ones who have the most horrendous messaging I've ever seen. They're never on message, they're changing continually, and one arm can't speak with the other arm. The only people they need to be worried about is the person they see in the mirror, but that's not what's being propagated, no. Rather, we have mayhem at the White House. The press corps is going in panic mode trying to cover which basis they're going to take, depending on the moment. When you even have mainstream media questioning the administration, saying like, guys, are you sure that's the message for today? Because it wasn't the message yesterday, and it definitely wasn't the message of the CDC yesterday, but I know we're going to follow the science, and it's going to change daily, so we're going to react daily. However, when I get to the end of this broadcast, you'll understand that you better be careful what you're predicting, because the UK just had a huge shift against everything they predicted. But that's not being covered here because, again, that would be an error in judgment. And that's all we're pointing out here. If you want to stay on message, make sure you understand, as you claim, the science and where it's trending. Because the UK's trend went the polar opposite of everything they said would happen. Now, before we get into the video, you know your means to support me resides at restrictedrepublic.com. I don't ask for donations here. They're always welcome, of course, but I really enjoy providing you something in return. That something is a platform that you see now on your screen of all the information that will be shut down from you. It's not if it will be shut down, it will be shut down. Broadcast after broadcast, maneuver after maneuver, you now see that to be true. So if you haven't gone to Restricted Republic, you better before, again, you missed this message because the message is no longer allowed. Right now, 2 discount codes. Discount code FREEDOM, 24 months, $5 a month, 14 days for free. Discount code SAVE10, $10 off the annual subscription. Again, 14 days for free. Cancel anytime. Just make sure you do it before your subscription auto renews. And you're going to find out that you're not alone in your thoughts. You're not alone in the information you thought should be there, but isn't, because we'll provide it to you. Lisa Haven and I at restrictedrepublic.com. Now let's get back to this broadcast. So today I'm going to do a little bit less talking, and I'm going to allow all the talking heads to speak, and a little bit of a montage of the confusion of and the insult of over half the U.S. population. This is what the nation's progress on vaccinations are so far. You see over 163 million people, or about 50% of the population, have been fully vaccinated. So Joe Biden, in essence, insulted half of the U.S. But I guess nowadays that's just simply okay, because the ones who tried to cover for him, well, you'll hear what they did.
If you're unvaccinated, then you should at least get tested every week. Understand why you are banned from the VA, why you are banned from restaurants, why you are banned from other businesses and colleges increasingly, and they should be, because it's selfish. You are an arrogant, selfish SOB.
You have proof of that? Do you have proof? You were asking for proof from Jesse. What's your proof that people are wandering around willy-nilly spreading the disease?
And we have to get in those communities, and we have to knock on those doors, and we have to convince people and put them in a car and drive them and get that vaccine in their arm.
Look, we don't even have to have that debate if we can just get everybody vaccinated that's not vaccinated, that's refusing to get vaccinated, that's living vaccine-free and impacting the rest of us. It's like drunk drivers. You don't have the right to go out and drink and drive and put everybody else at risk, including your own life.
Does the president favor restrictions for unvaccinated people when it comes to restaurants, museums, concerts?
The president favors using the CDC as his North Star and what the health and medical experts are going to advise on how to save more lives and protect people.
So no, he doesn't think that there should be restrictions on unvaccinated people like some other countries have instituted.
He believes that we should be guided by the science. And certainly the surge in cases among unvaccinated because of the Delta variant prompts even more discussion about what actions can be taken.
Well, the impact, Jonathan, is that you're going to have the propagation of an outbreak that will continue to smolder. So you're going to have suffering on the part of the people who are unvaccinated. There will be some, not very many, we hope, but there will be some breakthrough infections, even among the vaccinated.
Given where we are today, and I think you've seen this, and those of you who have asked, we've confirmed this for, with the Delta variant, we will maintain existing travel restrictions at this point for a few reasons. The more transmissible Delta variant is spreading, both here and around the world.
Nobody should tell Jen Psaki about England reopening the borders to fully vaccinated visitors from U.S. or Europe. That would be the polar opposite, but digress.
Is your message to Americans who are feeling whiplash right now? Why should they trust the same group of health officials who just 2 months ago told them they don't have to wear a mask anymore inside?
Because our goal is to save their lives, and our responsibility and the responsibility of public health officials is to continue to provide updated guidance.
And most importantly, the associated illness, suffering, and death could have been avoided with higher vaccination coverage in this country. COVID-19 continues to present many challenges and has exacted a tremendous toll on our nation. We continue to follow the science closely and update the guidance should the science shift again.
From a communications perspective, Dana, that was a disaster. You have to be able to see the woman explaining. This is a major update, Geraldo.
It is true.
You can't have it done on audio. It just doesn't break through. The American people are either scared, confused, or annoyed now. They've lost the American people. We've had it. Joe Biden has blown this. This was his big mandate, tackling the pandemic, and now no one knows what's going on.
If you're vaccinated, remember to wear a mask and socially distance, because you can still spread COVID-19. Opposed to, fully vaccinated people can stop wearing masks. Can't understand at all where the confusion's coming in. Vaxxed or masked. Remember, it's not anybody else who's causing the confusion, other than, in our opinion, the administration and the CDC. So after you saw all that, you're going to wonder why you're about to see all of this. First, there's a new variant. As we told you, there would be. The Colombian variant now. And there'll be one after that, and one after that, and one after that. So your guidance should be very concise, very consistent. But a different story is taking shape.
All restrictions going tomorrow. Where are we heading?
It's very difficult to say for certain, but I think 100,000 cases a day is almost inevitable.
That was Neil Ferguson. 100,000 deaths per day is almost inevitable. But immediately after that holiday he had mentioned, well, the cases dropped. It didn't come to fruition. You can take it a step further. Here's another chart. And they wonder why some people feel like a human experiment. Follow the guidance, follow the science, but they're not showing any propensity to understand what the science means. Of course, this was the same professor that claimed there'd be over 500,000 deaths in the UK. It turned out to be a little bit closer to 129,000 if these statistics are proven accurate. So then you wonder, is a comment like this from Biden acceptable?
That's under consideration right now, but if you're not vaccinated, you're not nearly as smart as I thought you were.
You're not nearly as smart as I thought you were. It's going to be horrible when you woke up in the morning and read that UK article, and UK is allowing travel to the UK, and they're lifting their restrictions on the heels of what was supposed to be, in their country, an atrocious movement of the Delta variant. Well, that thankfully has reversed. We'll reverse here. Nobody can be sure, but right now, we're just supposed to try to muddle through the confusion as it relates to the CDC and the mayhem in the White House and the mixed messaging that's occurring. And that's not fair to America. And that's what we're calling out. We're not saying who's right or who's wrong, but simply pointing out that the messaging is terrible. And we've seen the reaction of so many Americans that are actually leaning on the government for guidance. But they're getting a different story every day. Somebody has to right this ship. Because Biden's number one pillar, his number one thing he stood for, is crumbling underneath him. We're going to move on now, because I don't want to give any props out to the January 6th hearings and any mainstream platform, but we're going to have our opinion over a restricted republic, and we're going to play you a few clips, and that's going to pretty much frame up the opinion real easily for you, which hasn't changed one bit whatsoever. So we'll hope you join us over there. We hope you'll take advantage of the discount codes. Remember, Freedom or Save 10, depending on if you want monthly or annual. If you haven't subscribed to the channel here, I certainly hope you will. Most importantly, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.